All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan. I'm the lead pastor and executive director here, and this is Carrie. She's the associate executive director here, and so good to be with you on this Saturday evening, and welcome to all of you joining us online. We're glad you're here and glad you're part of this community, wherever you're joining us from. And I should let you all know, if you're new with us, or maybe even you're old with us and you need the reminder, this is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence. I got a mint in my mouth. Break the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And there's always one thing we don't do in this community. Y'all can shout it out on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame, but Carrie's going to tell you some things coming up, and I'm going to finish my mint.
Thank you for the play-by-play. If you're new with us, welcome. We are glad that you're here. After service, we would love to connect with you. There are several people who were volunteering today. If you guys don't mind indulging me for 1 second, can I have you all stand up? We had such an amazing, no, there's more, hold on, there's more than just Candace. Okay, so we had so many people show up today to volunteer. So I want you guys to look around and I want you to remember these faces, and after service, go say hello, thank them for being of service. And if you're new with us tonight, come and get connected with us. We have welcome bags. We would love to get you connected. Inside those welcome bags, you'll find some fresh roasted Wagon Coffee from the extraordinary Tammy Canaday and her team at Wagon Coffee, as well as some free swag and a meeting schedule. If you flip that meeting schedule over, you'll find a QR code. That QR code will get you connected to all the different ways to get connected. You'll have a live meeting link where you can get all the different meetings that happen throughout the week here. They get updated so frequently that we can't keep the circulation fresh. So if you ever need to know like what meeting is happening tonight, that is a link that will get you there. You can also sign up for our newsletter there, where you will find out who our guest storyteller is each week and the different events that we have going on throughout the week. And this week is a fun one. So this Thursday, we are having our sober open mic. We partner with the Phoenix, and it is sponsored by Colorado Artists in Recovery and the Hornbuckle Foundation. Next week, we have the privilege, I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Oh, don't ruin it.
But I'm going to ruin it because it's kind of fun. But we have Sarah Hornbuckle coming next Saturday. I know, it's so exciting. I love it when she comes. Not that I like it when you're gone, but it's kind of...
I know, I heard it.
I do like it when Sarah is here. So she'll be here next week, but again, from the Hornbuckle Foundation. But for Sober Open Mic, you can go to that QR code. You can sign up. I don't know if there are still slots to perform, but there's all kinds of talent that's here on display. There's poetry, music, all sorts of different fun things. So check out that event.
Comedy
sometimes. But it's here. It's free. It's a wonderful way to get connected. It's 6:30 to 8:30. It's completely free to attend, and we would love to have you here. And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. I just want to remind people, I know you mentioned it last week, but the home team, if you're part of home team, is it the second Tuesday?
It is the second Tuesday of every month starting in August.
Starting in August. I don't have the date in front of me, but second Tuesday of every month. We're going to go through the book together called The Heart-Led Leader and talk about servant leadership. So if you're part of home team, we would love for you to show up for that. It's going to be a fun time. All right, y'all, the way we get started here on a Saturday night is with celebrations. We start with the good. We lift up the good. It's always a profound part of our time together. I should say this. Do you know in Chicago, we were at Free Chicago last Saturday, me and Shiloh, and they do the same thing. They start with celebrations, and I was just reminded as I got to just sit back and be one of them how powerful that time is, and that God joins with us in these celebrations, and we get to cheer for each other and root for each other. So that's what this 3 minutes is for. Derek has a mic on this side. Josh has a mic on this side. In-house, just raise up your hand and they'll get you a mic. If you're joining us online, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, put your celebrations in the comments and we'll join with you there. We take 3 minutes for this. Maybe you're celebrating a sobriety anniversary or a birthday or whatever the new thing in your life or recovery is. We celebrate it all. So this 3 minutes is yours.
I'm Ash. I got 45 days today.
Way to go, Ashley. Happy 45 days. Good to have you back.
My name's Renee, and we are celebrating. My mom is visiting us, and she just had a big birthday last Saturday. She turned 90.
Happy 90th birthday to Renee's mom. Good to have you here.
I'm Marley. I am 65 days sober today.
65 days sober. Way to go.
My name is Jen, and I have 904 days clean today.
904. Way to go, Jen. Oh, look at us. We got all quiet. Any other celebrations? Big, little, small, in between.
Hi, I'm Faith, and I got a new job offer this week and am moving in 2 weeks.
All right, Faith, congratulations. New jobs, new homes.
Hi, I'm Erica. I just want to celebrate that my oldest son sent me a photo of the recovery roadmap flyer for here tomorrow and asked me if I would come with him. Like, what the?
Yeah. Well,
So
are you
I'll
gonna
be here
go?
tomorrow.
Are you
Yeah,
gonna
we're
go?
going to be here tomorrow.
Okay, you'll be here
My
tomorrow.
34-year-old.
That's pretty cool. Let's celebrate that.
I'm Megan, and I'm celebrating a sober summer with my roommates and becoming a new guest at this free cafe church.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you here, and happy sober summer. Welcome. Anyone else? We got time for one or two more. There's 20 seconds left.
I'm Josie, and just to top that off, a lot of us ladies completed a 3-mile hike today.
All right. That's a big one. Congratulations. The things we get to do when we're sober. Hike 3 miles in 90-degree weather. It's fun. Thank you, Derek and Josh. Josh, you want to give your mic to Tammy Kennedy. She's going to join me up here. Y'all were the best mic passers we've ever had, Derek and Josh. Thank you very much. Hi, Tammy.
Hello. It's good to see you.
Is that mic on?
Mr. Derek in the house. What's up?
Thanks.
You're going to hear more about him later.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We'll talk about him a little bit.
I like
Shall we
it.
join with our online people?
Yeah. Hey, Evan, 119 days sober.
Way to go, Evan.
Evan.
Congratulations, dude. Christopher says, day 22, substance free. Way to go, Christopher. We'll celebrate that.
Kathy says, I'm hot and sweaty. Me too. But I'm also almost there, just in case I had 1 year for the first time in my life on July 9th, feeling strong.
All right, way to go, Kathy. Happy, hot, and sweaty 1 year. Felicia says, I am 78 days sober.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
awesome, Felicia.
Felicia. Glad you're joining us tonight. You have anything you want to add?
Ooh, do I?
I don't know.
think I
Sometimes
do.
you want to celebrate something.
You know what? It's been an interesting week. There's always highs and lows.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about the low, but the high for me is just coming and seeing faces of friends, having conversations with people that are unexpected and needed sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Community.
a lot of you here in this room are appreciated. Your words mean so much.
Yeah.
Your kindness means so much. This work that we do is hard sometimes, and weeks are hard sometimes. And so the encouragement that you give means so much. So thank you.
We'll celebrate that. That was a good word. Thank you, Tammy. All right, y'all. Well, we are still in July, which means we're still in this series called God Shots. So let's talk about some God Shots tonight, shall we? The title of this message is 7 minutes. I want to talk about the power of 7 minutes, but here's the video. So they say in recovery that you better find God or find a higher power. And I believe it's true. And what I can tell you is in my 13 years of recovery, the God stuff, it can still be really hard sometimes. It's not always hard, but when it is hard, what I've noticed is it's usually of my own making, you know what I mean? It's usually something I do, and I think it happens when my mind starts to snap shut and my heart begins to close a little bit. It feels like you're in just a bit of a cage. Anyone experience it? Yeah. And it's interesting because we're told in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, we're told that in recovery, we can look the world in the eye. That we can be alone at perfect peace and ease. And sometimes I can't look the world in the eye. I mean, sometimes that shame creeps up, or those feelings of unworthiness, and I can't look the world in the eye. Sometimes the truth is, when I'm alone, sometimes I'm not at perfect peace and ease. I mean, you go forward a few pages, we're also told this, that in recovery, we will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. And the truth is, sometimes some situations come along and they do baffle me. I don't know how to handle them properly. I should also tell y'all, I'm not really a numbers guy. Yeah, some of you can relate. Like math was never my thing. In fact, in 8th grade, that's when I started struggling hardcore with algebra. And then by the time I got to 10th grade, in the first few weeks, I failed out of geometry. In the high school that I went to, they put me in what all the students refer to as dumb kids math, and that's how I got through high school. Their words, not mine. But I have learned to pay close attention to numbers. 9. That's the number of minutes it takes for me to make my fruit, protein, blue spirulina bowl that some of y'all see me eat 5 days a week. 9 minutes. 7 hours and 28 minutes. That's the exact amount of time that my body requires for sleep, for my body to function at its optimal. If I don't get the 7 hours and 28 minutes, I'm not at my optimal, and I have learned to protect that as if my life depends on it, because I believe my life does depend on it. 100. That's the average number of strands of hair, some of y'all anyway, strands of hair that you will lose today before the clock strikes midnight. 100. 10 billion, that's the average number of flakes of skin that you shed each day. And by the way, that skin that you shed, those 10 billion flakes, 90% of all household dust is your flaky skin. So that means some of y'all need to go home and clean and vacuum. Check it out. Every 28 days, you get completely new skin. And I mention this to y'all to remind you that your body, it's constantly dying and shedding and changing and renewing. And let me ask you this question. Are you able to allow your mind and heart to go through the same process? Dying, shedding, changing, renewing, opening. 7. That's the exact amount of minutes that it takes for my mind and heart to begin to open. And you say, Ryan, that's really weird. How do you know that? Is that like a science thing? Well, kind of. Because do you know, several years ago when I got sober, I put in this new practice in place, and it was walking, like literally walking. Still to this day, sometimes it's the open space trails behind our house. 4 to 5 days a week going to the gym. I always start with a walk, but not one of those slow walks. It's like a fast-paced walk, and it's to get the heart rate up. And I noticed this thing several years ago would happen. Like when I would get to the gym and I'm carrying something heavy and everything feels heavy, and then when I start to walk, things would shift in the mind and the heart. I could feel it happen. It was like a physical feeling. I was so fascinated by this feeling that I started taking out my phone and I would time it. And I would look down at my phone when I felt things start to shift, and it was almost exactly, and still to this day when I do it, it is almost exactly 7 minutes. 7 minutes in. And do you know, when I started walking, I didn't think of it as a spiritual practice. I just did it to start getting in better shape. I didn't think of it as a spiritual practice until a few years ago. I was meeting with a coach that I was working with. We were on a Zoom call together, and I was explaining this thing that I'm fascinated by, that at 7 minutes when I walk, everything starts to shift. I can feel it. And he stops me, and he just lays this God shot on me. He like doesn't miss a beat. Here's what he says to me. He says, "Oh, Salvatore ambulando." And I'm like, exactly what y'all are thinking. What in the heck does that mean? I don't even know what you just said to me. What does that mean? And he says, well, it's time for you to learn some Latin. And I said, hit me. And here's what he told me. Salvatore ambulando, you can Google it, by the way. It is Latin, and it literally translates to, it is solved by walking. Fascinating, isn't it? Salvatore is the Latin term. It comes from a Latin verb, salvare, and it means to loosen, to solve, release. Ambulando, which is, by the way, where we get the word ambulance. There's a whole other story there, but ambulando, it comes from the Latin verb ambulare, and it literally means to walk. Do you know what else is very fascinating to me? Any Enneagram fans out there? Enneagram. Any Enneagram 4s? No 4s? I am a proud Enneagram 4. Now, in Enneagram thought, they have this interesting thing. There's a phrase for 4s, and it's this phrase, it's walk the dog. Tammy will say to me, my wife will say to me some days, Ryan, you got to walk the dog, which is very interesting because we don't even have dogs. And what's it mean? Well, it means, Ryan, you got to get busy. You've got to literally walk. You got to get moving your body because you know that's how you process things. You got to get out of your head. You know that's how you process things like feelings and emotions. And you know when you do this, that's when you get your best ideas. So, Ryan, you got to go out and walk the dog. And that's faith, isn't it? I mean, because think about it. When it comes to the God stuff, when it comes to the spiritual, you cannot think your way there or intellectualize your way there or read a book your way there. You have to open yourself enough, the mind and heart, and have the courage to walk through a process. And do y'all know, I can usually tell when my mind starts to snap shut, when the heart starts to close just a bit. You say, Ryan, how can you tell? Well, I can tell, and maybe you identify with this. When I do that, it brings out not the best version of me. It's like a version of me that I am still trying to let die. Like last weekend, we had this experience in Chicago. My 13-year-old daughter, Shiloh, was with me. We went to go visit Free Recovery Chicago, hang out with them. And the problem was, well, we had an early morning flight on Thursday. Like, had to get up at 2:30 a.m. I didn't get my 7 hours and 28 minutes of sleep. I got 4 hours that night. And we get on the plane, and we hadn't eaten anything early that morning. And I said to Shiloh, I said, baby, I can't wait to take you to my favorite bakery and cafe in Chicago. And they have the very best almond croissants. I mean, you put this in your mouth, it's like a spiritual experience, and I'm getting all excited. Shiloh can attest to this. You'll remember this story, baby. So we get off the plane, we go to our hotel, we drop our bags off, and then we walk to my favorite bakery and cafe, and I walk in there, and I get an almond croissant. And you got to say it without the T because that's the French way of saying it. I get my almond croissant. I sit down. I'm having this spiritual experience. And the thing about this cafe is the tables are really close together inside. There's not a lot of room to sit. And so we're sitting enjoying our croissants. And I feel someone bump the back of my chair. No problem. I look back, he's trying to scoot in the table, so I scoot my chair in, and I look back again, trying to make some small talk, and I said, they didn't give us much room in here, did they? And when I look back, I notice it's an elderly couple, 90 years old. He was fine, but she says to me, she says, ugh. I'm like, ugh, what's that about? She says, you could have scooted in even more. Woo, child. Oh, no, you didn't. I'm immediately offended. I can't believe, what, you think I'm doing this on purpose? I didn't even know y'all were back there until you bumped my chair. You think I'm trying to make your day worse? I'm offended. I'm irritated. I'm agitated. Now, I work a recovery program that teaches me to do what? Pause when agitated. Do y'all know I paused? But see, the problem was, you can pause for the wrong reasons. I did not pause long enough to invite God in. I paused long enough to think, how am I going to lay into this lady? What am I going to say to her next? So we finish our almond croissant. And then we stand up. I said, baby, you ready to go? She said, yeah, let's go. And I start to walk. I'm carrying my tray, but I stop at their table. And I look down at her, my nose down at her. And I said, we teach our 13-year-old daughter to say please and thank you. And if you would try doing the same, it would get you a lot further in life. And I drop the mic, and I walk out of there. And you know, my subconscious will love to tell me, Ryan, you know what's best in this situation. You can handle this little situation better than God can, so you don't need to hand this one off. And for the next 17 seconds, I felt really big about myself because I won. I got her. How does it feel, Ryan? You got a 90-year-old woman. How does it feel? For 17 seconds, it felt phenomenal. The problem is, that day we got 21,000 steps of walking. So as I began to walk away from that cafe, it is dawning on me that, Ryan, that was not your true self. Man, that was the false self, the one you're trying to let die. That was the one coming up to the surface. Your true self, man, you would have reacted in more kindness, more compassion. You would have been asking the question, how can you make their experience better? How can you make their day just a little bit better? You reacted with the false self. And y'all, I would ask you, what does it take for you? How long does it take for you to open up the mind and the heart just enough? Going back to the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, do you know it describes our recovery, that in our recovery we undergo a profound alteration in life, that our recovery depends on an awareness of a power greater than ourselves. And I do get it. For many of us, that kind of faith is a struggle. We don't know how to turn our lives over. We don't know how to depend on something other than ourselves. Our subconscious is so strong. Brian McLaren, he's a spiritual teacher and a theologian. He wrote a great book called Faith After Doubt. I highly recommend it. In Faith After Doubt, he identifies what he calls the 4 stages of faith development, and I want to share them with you. Some of you all are familiar with this. The first stage of faith development he calls simplicity, and if you were born and raised in religion, some of you know what this is like. Simplicity, it's the first stage. It's marked by dualism. It's right versus wrong thinking. It's us versus them. You learn how to obey the rules passed down from the religious authorities. You learn how to be good. You mimic the practices necessary for belonging. And you stay there for a while, but then ideally you move into the second stage, the second phase of faith development, which he calls complexity. In complexity, this generally happens in your young adult years, maybe even your teenage years. You begin to push back on the authorities. Why? Because, we've got questions now, and we're not children any longer. We want to self-differentiate from our families or our parents or from the leaders who handed this down to us. We want to think for ourselves because we are self-reliant individuals. Well, then after that, you move into the third stage of faith development, and it's called perplexity. And it's very easy for many of us to stay in this stage and never move to the fourth stage. Perplexity, it's Honesty is expected. Critique is inevitable. Doubt is a virtue. These are good things. What do you do in perplexity? Well, you relentlessly challenge the status quo. You don't trust the system, and there's no room for BS in a faith system. And in perplexity, deconstruction is of primary importance. You just deconstruct the whole thing. It's easy to stay there, but then if you move to the sweet spot, what Brian McLaren calls it, it's the fourth stage, and it's called harmony. In harmony, life is a mysterious gift. Seeking understanding, connection in the common good, reverent openness to the mystery of God, and faith is expressed not in being right, but it's expressed in love. And in this stage of faith development, it is not deconstruction, which is very important, but it is humility that is key. And here's what I can tell you all. It is very easy to stay in stage 3, perplexity, where you are just bent on deconstructing everything. And it's an important stage, but some of us stay there too long. I know this to be true because this was my life in college and seminary. Tell me your theology, and I'm going to poke holes in it. I'm going to make you feel bad about yourself. I had no real commitment to a community ethos, and at the time I was wrestling with my own demons, my own alcoholism, my own doubts, my own faith crisis, and I can look back now and see that even in that place God was with me. But what I know is I could stay there. I could stay in deconstruction. I know how to do that. I'm good at it. And what I know is some of you, you've been through the hard. In fact, you have walked through the deepest kind of pain that this life has to offer. It's the kind of pain that makes you question everything. It's the kind of pain that makes you wonder who you are. It's the kind of pain that makes you wonder if God is even real, if God is even active in the world. It's the kind of pain that makes you question everything, and because of that, you have become very good at deconstruction. That in a world that is riddled with pain and heartache, it is just too risky to give yourself to something bigger. But Salvatore ambulando, it is solved by walking. And what does it take for you? How long does it take for you to open the mind and the heart just enough? Yeah, see, life is a mysterious gift. I mean, that's stage 4, harmony. Life is a mysterious gift. And what do you get in harmony? You get humility is key. Humility, not deconstruction, is the sweet spot to live in. Mystery and humility, they walk together, don't they? And for many of us in this room, that is not like a foreign idea. I mean, think about it. We trade in certainty on a regular basis for mystery and humility. What do we rely on? We rely on a power greater. We rely on God or a higher power, whatever you call it. When do we rely upon it? Well, not for tomorrow, not for next year, not for the next season, for today. One day at a time that we will be taken care of. Our needs will be met. You see, my brothers and sisters, I would encourage you to stay curious. Keep expressing those doubts. Keep asking those questions, but don't get stuck in them. You don't have to get stuck there. Your theology or your spirituality, it does not have to be wrapped up in this pretty box with a pretty bow on top. I know that's the temptation, but man, I've been there. I had the pretty box. In seminary, I had that pretty box, and God was an academic project for me. Just something to study, and what I found is that God kept getting me drunk time and time again, and what I know today is living into the mystery is a sweet spot in life, and it requires a great deal of humility. Do you know, if you ever get the chance to go to the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem in the West Bank? Well, the Church of Nativity is a very interesting place. It's the venerated site where Jesus was born. It doesn't mean Jesus was born there. It means this site has been venerated to recognize, honor it. And if you pull up to the Church of Nativity, you'll see this doorway, the front entrance. And you think it's like a structural mistake. Or as Chance, our tech team lead, told me when he looked at the picture when we were putting it in the slide, he said, well, maybe the people were just shorter back then. That's another theory. But the message is very clear. You want to go in? You want to experience the sacred? Well, first you must literally humble yourself and then walk through. Salvatore Ambulando, it is solved by walking. And what does it take for you? How long does it take for you to open the mind and the heart? And I do know for some of you, you are currently moving through those stages of faith and doubt, and you're just not sure anymore. You become so bent on just deconstructing everything, and how's it working for you? Deconstructing everything. Maybe you're trying to get clean and sober, and you're trying to figure things out, and it's just easier. It's not working, so it's easier to just deconstruct the whole God idea. Or maybe you have a loved one in your life who picked up a drug or a drink again, and giving yourself to mystery, something greater, is too difficult for you because, man, you want the black and white answers and just tell me what to do next. And it's easier that way. And now you're being called to live in a mystery, and it's very difficult. Or maybe you're a spiritual refugee and you have been so burned by religion or so burned by church as an institution that you could even sit with me for hours and you could tell me everything wrong with religion, everything wrong with church as an institution. You could sit with me and you could tell me all the things you stand against rather than the things you stand for. And we see it all the time on social media. And at some point, y'all, you become totally irrelevant and boring. You are stuck in perplexity. You've never moved into harmony. So you miss out on the most beautiful things in life. You miss out on relationships with other people, love from others, gratitude, mystery, community. You're the one that sits in the back and you just poke holes in things. I see it happen in every community. You poke holes in things and then you're out. And is it working? You see, my brothers and sisters, I'm not encouraging you to set aside your doubts or your questions, but somewhere along the way, Salvatore Ambulando, it is solved by walking through the process. And what does it take for you to open the mind and the heart just enough? And I'll close with this. I love this proverb. The book of Proverbs, it's found in the Old Testament. Ancient wisdom sayings from the Hebrew people. They say, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge God, and God will make your path straight as you walk. I love how the Message puts it. The Message is a paraphrase of it, and the Message says it this way: trust God from the bottom of your heart. Don't try to figure out everything on your own. You need other people. Listen for God's voice in everything you do, everywhere you go, everywhere you walk. God's the one who will keep you on track. You see, are you able to trust the process? Are you able to trust God from the bottom of your heart, even in the midst of your really messy spirituality? And Salvatore Ambulando, it is solved by walking through. And what does it take? How long does it take for you to open the mind and the heart? And I'll close with this. Do you know this week I had to rework the end of my message because I had this experience on Wednesday morning. And it was one of those experiences that totally rocked my world. Man, it totally, that day, it stole everything from me on an emotional, well-being basis. This thing that happened, it totally rocked my world. And there I was sitting at home on Wednesdays. I work from home. I work on my message. And what I'm discovering is, man, I had to sit with all these feelings of discomfort, and I couldn't get them to go away. The drink used to do that for me, and I had to sit with these feelings of discomfort. And by 3 o'clock that afternoon, I'm like, man, these feelings are still there. Feelings of fear, feelings of anger, feelings of resentment, feelings of unworthiness, feelings of questioning myself and self-doubt, which is another way of doubting God. And I'm sitting with all these feelings. And finally at 3 o'clock, I pray. I said, God, help me let go of this thing. I don't know why it's hard to let go of the thing that's hurting you. God, help me let go of this thing. And I knew what to do. It's just sometimes this thing is so damn heavy. And so that evening I picked up the phone because I had to look the situation in the eyes and say, look, you won today. You got me today. You took the whole day. But listen, situation, I've got things to do tomorrow, and I got a family who needs me, and I can't give this thing another day. So I pick up the phone and I call 3 men that I trust. I would tell you I trust them with my life. And I don't want people to know that this thing is affecting me. It's embarrassing that this is affecting me to the way it is. And I told them how I felt. And I told them what had happened. And do you know, after each conversation, this profound thing happened. The mind starts to loosen a little bit. The heart, it starts to open up a little bit. And by 9 o'clock that night, the thing that was so heavy, and you know how it is when it's heavy, it feels like it's going to stay there forever. That's the fear. By 9 o'clock that night, no, it was not totally gone, but it was a hell of a lot lighter. Yeah. Maybe it's not 7 minutes. I mean, sometimes it is. And sometimes it might be 7 weeks, 7 hours, 7 months, 7 years. The point isn't the number. The point is, are you willing to walk through? Because when you walk through, you might encounter a power greater than you, a God who walks along beside you. And Salvatore Ambulando, it is solved by walking through the process. And how long does it take? So what we're going to do, I'm going to invite you into a moment of reflection for this song that we're going to play. This song is called 7 Years by Lucas Graham. Take a moment and reflect. Y'all have heard that song before, right? That's a good one, isn't it? Yeah, there's some remixes of it that are good too. Well, if you're new with us, you should know that every Saturday night we have a guest storyteller in the house to join us in the living room to share some of their story with us. And man, tonight you get to meet my friend. Many of y'all know Robert Villers. Here's what I can tell y'all before we welcome him up. Do you know this building is in really good hands on Saturday nights after we leave here? On Friday nights too, on Tuesday nights too, we got Sober Souls, but on Saturday nights, this was the first time I met Robert. I think it's been, I don't know, a couple years ago now. This dude was serving people. I don't even know if you knew who I was at the time, but he's part of this meeting here called Dark Side. Go Dark Side. Dark Side's a CA meeting, and sorry if I just broke all kinds of traditions there. But he was welcoming people in, and he was welcoming me. He says, oh, yeah, come to the meeting. Come on, your recovery. And I don't even know if you knew where I was, but I watched him stand outside these doors and greet people, welcome people, love people. Last year, you might have seen a Christmas tree out here with all these sober ornaments and birthdays on them and sober dates on them. That was Robert's idea, and he drove that idea home. And what I know about this dude, he's one of those guys who serves other people. It's a way he has found in his recovery. It's a way of life for him. I can't wait for y'all to hear his God shot. Help me welcome Robert into the living room. Come on up here, big guy. I got to read your shirt to him now because I just saw it. Yeah, stand up. God pulled you out of the pit so you could go back in and get more people out. Never forget that. Never forget that. That's how the shirt ends. Never forget that. Beautiful, man. So, Robert, dude, first, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're part of this community.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
And I'm glad you're wearing your hat backwards. Solidarity, but also so people can see that pretty face of yours. So, okay, I was thinking about you during the song, too, because you might have noticed the line in there about an 11-year-old. You picked up your first drink at age 5, but by 11, you were stealing bottles
Full-blown,
of booze.
yeah, stealing alcohol.
Yeah.
You know.
Hold the mic up to your mouth so people can hear
No.
you. There you go. There
Okay.
you go.
11 years old, you know, I mean, my first drink ever, my older brothers gave it to me at 5 years old. You know, they gave me shots of whiskey until I fell off the bar stool. Crazy, you know. But at 11, I did it to fit in. You know, I was not fitting in at school or whatever, you know. And throughout my younger years, you know, we'd steal the alcohol from the bar that we had downstairs, you know. And yeah, not knowing that my parents knew, but we filled them bottles back up with water or whatever, you know. Just
You were so creative.
yeah. I don't know anybody else that's ever done that.
Yeah.
You know.
You were the first.
You know, but going through school and everything, then going into middle school, high school, you know, is when it started picking up. You know, because I wasn't part of sports or anything like that. Raised in a small town, you know, that's pretty much what everybody did.
Yeah.
You know, it's the only thing we all did growing up.
So I know you got all kinds of battle wounds and war stories, and we could spend the whole evening there. But that would be, as Carrie says, the least interesting part of your story. But I want you to tell us, because you stayed there until New Year's Eve of 2016.
Correct.
Sober New Year's Eve 2016, when most people are getting started for the evening, you're stopping. You said your brother was your rock. He was a rock in your life. But
Yeah.
what happened on that?
I had an
Christmas
older
Day?
brother, you know, he always set Christmas up for the whole family. He's always the one that brought the family together, you know. The older brother that I had, I mean, I had 3 brothers, 1 sister, you know, nobody messed with the girl. Yeah, but the older brother that I'm talking about, we never fist fight growing up, you know, we did brother things, you know, picked on each other, whatever. But as I did for years, you know, I lied, I cheated, I stole, you know, and that Christmas, the whole family was there, and I lied to my brother, you know, and I'm not drinking, I'm not doing coke, you know, I lied to him, you know, and he knew, and he abruptly gave me a God shot that night. You know, he beat my ass.
Yeah, they come that way sometimes, don't they?
You know, it's. I look at it now today that all God shots that I've been through, we might think some of them are bad, but they happen for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, so we can move on with life.
How did it feel, though, to have your rock kick you out? Say you're no longer welcome here.
That was one of the hardest things that ever happened to me. You know, I mean, always there, always there, always there, and now he's not.
Yeah.
You know.
But it was a week later you got sober.
Yeah, 6 days later after I walked the streets of Denver here.
Yeah.
I went into a program. New Year's Eve was when I quit, and they wanted 2 days clean and sober.
Yeah.
And it was a rough 2 days, but I
Which
did
program did you go to?
it. I went to Step Denver.
September.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found so interesting, Robert doesn't have, like many of you here, didn't have any religious background, wasn't exactly a church guy, but Robert always talks about God and finding a higher power. And it was the first thing you talked about was, in my recovery, I have to rely on a power greater than me. And where'd that go? When did things start to shift for you for that? How did you get that?
Well, being part of a 12-step fellowship, you
Yeah.
know, I had a guy I met when I was in treatment working at that facility, you know, and he came in and, you know, that's my rock. He's my rock now. He came in, and it don't matter that he has less time than me or whoever has more time than me, we're all here, you said it earlier, just for today.
Yeah.
You know? It took me 5.5 years. You know, you said years, 7 minutes. You know, how long does it take you? It took me 5.5 years, you know, before I finally broke down and started accepting that my life was not run by me.
Yeah.
You know, I was beyond all human aid, you know, and that man showed me how to live, you know. I didn't know how to live, you know. I was going through the motions, but I really did not know how to live.
Is that man you're talking about, is he here tonight?
Yes, he is.
Can we make it a little bit awkward?
Yes, we can.
Derek Bougnon, stand up just so people can see who we're talking about here. Yeah. This dude, it's been a minute since he shared his story up in this living room, but I don't say this, one of the most solid dudes I know. He's another one. I mean, and you said that, Ryan, that's where I got it. He's always serving people. He is sponsoring other men. He's walking with other men. When we talk on the phone, he's like, does he ever get riled up about anything? Because he's like the calmest voice I could ever talk to.
I could get him riled up.
Okay, let's do that later. I want to see it.
We're not going to do it tonight, no.
So,
but I can.
But
yeah.
it was so cool to hear Robert talk about Derek in this way, because you said you were just watching him, and he had this way of life that he's living, and you wanted that, and you didn't have it.
Right.
So you like had to borrow it from him. You had to learn from him.
I didn't borrow nothing from him, you know. He gladly showed me what he had, you know. Yeah. My God is different than everybody else's God, you know, because I have a different conception.
Yeah.
You know, but his conception flowed into me, you know, because I've also noticed, I've been into the big book, it says the fundamentals of God are in every man, woman, and child.
Yeah.
You know, I do believe that they could have wrote more in there, because this place right here, you know, the fundamentals of addiction are in every man, woman, and child as well.
Yeah.
You know, but I also believe that the fundamentals of recovery are in every man, woman, and child. You know, and I want to give a shout out to free recovery. You know, you guys are a staple, and you give the people, you know, that chance to recover.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And I can't tell you what it meant to me that day. We met on Tuesday afternoon, and his eyes get a little, maybe it was allergies. His eyes got a little watery. And he told me how much free it meant to him. And then on Wednesday morning, I woke up and something really difficult happened. And your words came back to me Wednesday evening, and I was so grateful for it. But you also said, Robert, that the God shot can happen on what seems to be the worst day of your life.
Yeah.
And you and I have something in common. Derek has it in common now, too. We've lost a brother.
Yep.
What was the God shot there?
The God shot, even though he beat my ass on Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, that was one. But after I lost my brother, I picked up that phone, you know, and I called somebody that was clean and sober.
When did your brother pass?
2020, March 17th of 2020.
So you were clean and sober for 4 years.
3 years. 3 years, yes. But the walking thing that you were talking about, to try to release, 5.5 miles. I walked from my brother's house after I found him, you know, without the phone, without nothing, just to try to release. You know, I figured out, God helped me figure out that night that I don't have to walk through it alone, you know. I do not have to pick up drugs and alcohol. I was always why me, why me, why me. Now it's why not me, you know. How did that experience benefit somebody else in this world? You know, how can that help somebody else? You know, and that's a big God shot. Even though it was a negativity on my part, you know, I lost my brother, right? My rock, my staple. But picking up the drugs and alcohol wouldn't have changed that, you know? It would not have changed that at all, you know? The experience that I have now, and you have as well, and Derek also, you know, that experience can benefit somebody else down the road so they don't have to live in that trauma.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have to live in that heartache. You know, I've been told, you know, when I first came in, I always looked at the differences and not the similarities. You know, we can all find the differences, you know. Just because you haven't lost somebody, blah, 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 you might be judging, whatever, you know, that's a difference. Now you look at the similarities, we have the same guilt, the same shame, the same hate, you know, because of the way we acted in active addiction or anything else, you know, because we took our will back.
Yeah.
You know.
So Robert, let me ask you this in closing. What for someone who's here tonight, or maybe they're watching online, they struggle with the God idea. They struggle to find that power greater than themselves, or maybe it's just easier to deconstruct it and keep on going. And what do you say to that person? What hope do you give to that person?
Walk into a place like this, or pick up that phone and call somebody, because there's somebody in this world that has went through the same trauma or the same experiences that you have, whether they're good or bad. You know, we're quick to talk about the good things, but we're never quick to talk about the bad things.
Yeah.
But when we talk about the bad things, it relieves that trauma from us.
It does, man. It gets lighter.
You know, so the hope is hearing other people's experiences.
Yeah.
You know, and the best way I found myself is to lose myself in the service of others. Yeah. You know, and I appreciate the shout out. You know, I did not know you that night. I did not know you were here at Free. I mean, I knew.
Yeah,
it
I could tell you didn't know I was the pastor here, which was kind of cool, because what I learned about him is he treated me the same he treated anyone else. He was just welcoming me into the meeting, and thanks for that, man. It shows who you are.
We all know that we need help, right?
Yeah.
All of us do.
Yeah.
You know, the loved ones of addicts, the disease runs in all of us.
Yeah.
You know, when is your lowest point on helping somebody? You know, it's an active addiction.
Yep.
You know, but that's when we have the hope. We listen to other people that have been through it, you know, so they can show us how to live, you know. And not only Derek, but there's been a lot of people in this fellowship /Free / the community that have showed me how to live.
Yeah.
You know, I knew what dying felt like. For years, I knew what it felt like, you know, but now I'm living.
L-I-V-I-N.
Yep.
Man, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for being a part of this community, and thanks for who you are. Robert Villers, ladies and gentlemen. Good stuff, my friend. Thanks a lot. Yeah, appreciate you too. You want to hold on to that and pass the mic? Okay, Derek can. Yeah, he can do it. All right, y'all. Well, the way we close down here on a Saturday night, before Darkside takes things over later tonight. What's the phrase y'all say? You shout out the. Can you say that? Get yourself a sponsor. Right? Yeah. That's okay. I won't repeat what he just said, but get yourself a sponsor right effing now. The way we close down is with heartaches, the burdens that you might be carrying, the things that feel heavy. Maybe you need some prayer, some encouragement, some lifting up. That's what this 3 minutes is for. And maybe it's like, and it's just the simple truth of saying the thing out loud so that it can begin to dissipate. Maybe it's the first time you've said this thing out loud that you want prayer for, some encouragement for. If you're online, you can drop your heartaches in the YouTube comments or the Facebook comments. We'll join you there. Derek has a mic on this side. Josh has a mic on this side, and we'll take 3 minutes. This time is yours.
Hi, I'm Liz. I lost my first sponsor yesterday. She came to our 9:30 meeting at Kay Cadane. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer about 2.5 years ago. They gave her 6 months to live. She made it 2.5. So pray for the Cadane family. She will be very missed.
Oh, yes, she will. Thank you for sharing that with us, Liz. Prayers for you and the family and everyone who loves her. Yes, she was a good one.
My name is Sheila, and I want prayers for my son. He just got arrested yesterday for possession, substance abuse, probably crystal meth, and he's got a lot of stuff in his background, so I'm real afraid, but I'm hoping this will help him take the first step again.
Prayers for him and for you. It's hard.
Hi, I'm Hot and Sweaty Kathy back here.
Oh, Hot and Sweaty Kathy. All right. I think you got a new nickname.
And I know a lot of people consider this heartbreak, but I have been diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic uterine cancer, and I am grateful and consider it a gift. So, thanks.
I'm glad you're here, Kathy. And prayers for you. Glad you're here. Thank you for sharing that with us. Others.
I'm Josie, and going through separation with my husband. I actually divorced, but not speaking. So that's my struggle this week. But I know you're at your strongest when you're at your weakest. So.
Prayers for you in this time. Anyone else? All the way in the back there. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Lindsay. My mother has a rare blood disease and is very sick. I haven't seen her in years, so if you could lift her up. And then also my son, he said, "Mom, I'm not an alcoholic." I told him, "It's okay if you are," and he was in tears. Lift him up tonight. Thanks.
Yeah. Prayers for your family tonight and you. Derek, you want to keep that mic on and join me up here to join with our online people? I mean, we did talk about you a little bit tonight, so you know, come on up on the stage. It's good to see you, dude. Good to see you too. And this guy always smells good. That's what I like. When I give this dude a hug, he's got that scent. Yeah. I'm just trying to make it as awkward as possible, Derek.
It's working.
All right.
It's working.
All right, so we'll join our online people. You want the first one?
Sure.
All right.
Roger W. says, prayers for my mom as we are celebrating the lives of her last older brother and her older sister of a family of 8 children this week.
Yeah, lifting up
Prayers
your family,
for you
Roger.
guys, Roger.
Yeah. Evan says, prayers for people adjusting to my recovery process. Yeah, that's a good one, man. Prayers for them and you. Glad you're here tonight.
Cheryl H. says, prayers for my twin granddaughters in NICU fighting to live. Aww.
Ooh, Cheryl lifting up your granddaughters tonight.
Prayers for you.
And you and the family. Ashley. Y'all remember Chris Pondoff? He preached here a few weeks back, and Ashley was a guest storyteller. They're out in St. Louis. Ashley says, hi, Free. Please pray for a member of our community that lost her son to an overdose this week. Yeah, Ashley, lifting them up in your community, the underground community in St. Louis, underground recovery. Prayers for you guys. Glad you joined us tonight. Thanks, Steve, for being up here with me, brother. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, listen, if you have been impacted by the mission of breaking the silence of addiction, if you call this place home, if you call this place your people, your community, we do rely on your generosity here. We are funded by you, the people. So if you would like to donate to Free, there's a few different ways to do it. You can download the app. All of our messages, content, guest storytellers are all on the app. There's a giving button there. You can give there one time or set it up to be recurring. You can also do the same thing on the website, freerecoverycommunity.com, or for those of you in-house, there's giving boxes just outside each set of doors. If you want to give that way, still cash and checks. We take those things here. And there's the Kind kiosk just outside these doors on the right. It's the one tippy tap system, a fun, easy way to give if you want to do that. And I try to remind you all every week, we very much rely upon and appreciate your giving here. And even if you don't give here, please do give somewhere. Find people in need and give, because giving does change you, and thank you for being a part of it. Shall we go out with a prayer? Yes. I would invite you to just open up the hands. Just a simple gesture, a posture of openness. And what does it take for you? How long does it take to open the mind and the heart? To give yourself to something different than you've been giving yourself to? To welcome in God, to pause long enough. So just take a big deep breath. And be reminded you're here in this moment with the gift of breath. And if you don't know the 3rd step prayer or the 7th step prayer, because we'll do the 7th step prayer tonight. It goes like this. We'll pray it together. It's on the screen. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen, and grace and peace to you all. See you next time.